Hello folks, hope you're well. This, I do believe, is a video of Molly Collie going for walkies with two of her pups. When she had just a two, they grew really big really quickly. And yeah, at this time, they were only about 6 or 7 weeks old at that point in time. But as I say, because they were so big, and they were as big as 8-week-old dogs at that point in time. It was simply a case of keeping them away from other dogs. Yeah, there's other dogs, but just keep them away from other dogs because, yeah, they didn't have their jabs by that time. So therefore, yeah, you see a dog in a distance. So therefore, these puppies knew to stay where I was. Yeah, because then I'd already taught them by just walking around the area to do that. So I could do that because they knew, and Mum knew, and they would follow Mum if they didn't follow me. So therefore, it's easy enough to call Mum and call the dogs away from any other dogs. So there you go. Just in case people get concerned, there was no issues with those pups at all. So they were an absolute joy. So anyway, okay. The issue with me walking away from that church, yes. Is it going to harm anyone from that church? No, because really, the reality is, of course, if I'm banned from the meetings, if I can't go to the general meetings of that church, the chance that I could have any fellowship with people to a point where they would be willing to listen is 0. So, with that being the case, no. It's not going to harm anyone from church because they're not going to receive anyway, are they? Nope. Of course not, no. And then, again, is it going to hurt me? No. Because again, can I receive anything from the people at that church? Well, that all depends. If God is the one telling them to give, then they have to come to me, not the other way around. Right? And that's the point. If God is telling them to give, then they have to come to me, not the other way around. If I don't go to that church, it doesn't matter. If God tells me to go to a shop and pay the person who's working there some money, and he tells me, to pay them £300 because they've been waiting for that money, and he wants me to do it, then am I going to wait for them to come to me? No. Now, if God told them to come to me to receive that money, different situation, isn't it? So, yeah, as I say. And do I think there's people at the church who would have the means where they could help? Yeah. Yeah. Do I think those people who have the means have that sort of relationship with God where they could be led by God to do that? Probably not. So, yeah. As I say, it is what it is. It just is. I say it was good speaking to that man who thinks he's an evangelist because, again, that proved that I'm right to walk away from that church. From what they do. The Thursday coffee thing, because there's no point. I tried to speak to him, and if he was called by God to speak to people about the Lord, and if he is led by God, then when I'm talking to him about what God is doing right now, he would listen. He didn't want to listen at all. He didn't. He had no desire really to listen. So, it just helped. And at one point he said, well, you can't walk away from here because there are people that care for you. Okay, who? Who may that be? Well, the one person I've known for a long time would be Dave Ellaby. I've known him for about 7 years. In the past three years, Certainly past 2 to 3 years. There hasn't even been a text from him in those 3 years to ask me how I'm doing, or do I want to meet him for coffee or that sort of thing. No, not in the last 3 years. No. That's because we met there. But the reality is, again, would you count that as friendship? Would you count that as fellowship that I have with that person? And anyone else? Nope. There's no one else. There's no one else there that outside of there I've ever spoken to. Because they have no desire. Yeah, whether it be the River Church, whether it be the Church of God in Elgin, the Community Church of God, or Oasis Church, or any other church, most of the people in church have no desire for real fellowship at all. At all. If they did, different matter. Put it this way, if there was a church where people had a desire to hear from God and be led by God, and that maybe someone had the money to help me and they wanted to be led by God to help people, then okay, maybe I will go to that place, because then I could actually help people. But yeah, in a church where people don't want to really have God at all, or looking to him, or listening to him, or even looking to what the Lord actually said, they don't want to do that at all. What's to say? Life is easy. Yeah, for the majority of people, life is relatively easy in church. Yeah, for some people it's not. For some people, they have difficulties, they have things they're dealing with. But the majority of people in church, yeah. And the reason is because, generally speaking, church is full of middle-class people. And middle-class people are doing well, thank you very much. Because they are. They're doing pretty well. Yeah, the majority of people in church are also over the age of 60, and they've done well because they were born at a time when it was possible, not a certainty, but when it was possible that you could own your own house. That was the situation then when they were younger. They could work and buy their own house. Right now, that's so much more difficult than it was years ago. So therefore, why would they want to change? I said before, the reason why people don't want to change, there's so many reasons why people don't want to change. And yeah, again, that is the situation, isn't it? We are in that situation. Yeah. Yeah, that Civic, that was my last car. That was the one when the clutch died. That lasted me a long time, because this video was probably 2020. Well, I think it's probably 2019. And I had that video up until last year. Not the video, the car, up until last year. So it lasted 5 years. It went through MOTs with no problems at all. Yeah, that was a good car, that one. Unlike the one I've got now, which I was expecting to go through MOT with no problem at all, but there you go. Seeing that sort of stuff does remind me. I was thinking earlier, I should actually do the recording to videos without looking at a video. Because I do the recordings indoors with old videos. I just take the sound off the video. I just use them. And that works, but the problem is Yeah, you can see things like a car that was a good car and lasted for years and years and years against the one I've got now. Yeah. And I see Molly Collie, who was my first doggy. Molly Collie, she's number one. Absolutely number one. So seeing her and those tracksuit bottoms, I just gave them away to a charity shop. I've worn them about probably 5 times. I was never going to wear them again, so I just I gave them to a charity shop. And so, yeah. All part of the journey, isn't it, really? So as I say, yeah, I'm happy enough with the decision. I think I made the right decision today. Well, it's all down to peace of mind. Yeah, not trying to push something that God isn't wanting to prove right now. There's no point trying to push it. As I say, that's who I am. So therefore, yeah. There you go. You take care. Bye-bye.